I don't know why we look so happy on the instant match reaction, because sadly it's finished. Manchester United 3, Leicester City 0. A pretty painful game to watch. Guys, what do we think about that? Let me start with Luke, the man, LCFC Down Under. What did you make of that fairly abject performance?
First of all, before I rant and sound salty, I just want to give credit to Van Nistelrooy for his brilliant time in charge as our interim or caretaking manager. I think he's done a really good job. I thought that the goals were absolutely fire from United. So fair play to them. Fair play to Ericsson for coming on as a sub and dishing out an absolute beautiful ball for that third goal. Now that I got that out of the way, because I don't want to sound like, that salty, I just want to say that, like, I've 100%, there's no going back for this now. Like, Cooper has absolutely got to go. Deluded orc, shit pub manager. It doesn't matter with that right-hand side. As soon as JJ comes off, it doesn't matter who's there. He's going to be exploited. He gets hauled off. I'm sure Neil will pull up the picture of him. His face is 1,000 words. When he's pulled off, the exact same bit we get exploited on the right-hand side as soon as JJ comes off. And then Yannick Vestergaard is forced to come out from the middle to track for whoever's meant to be their phase. Yeah, liability gone missing. So, boys, what do you think? I really think we need to pull up the matches that are coming up ahead and the table as well to show where the teams are around us, because after we play Chelsea after the international break, chances are we're probably going to be going in the relegation zone, depending on how Crystal Palace and teams around us go. So with this international break, we now need to get someone in time that can work with the boys on this time off and this break, because Cooper has got to go. The writing is on the wall. He is absolutely garbage, has no credit at the bank, pub level manager. I'm ranted enough about him as it is, but what more do you want to see? What more do you want to see? You want to keep seeing Fatah on the left-hand side? You want to keep leaving JJ hung out to dry on the right-hand side and be a right back and a right winger? I've seen enough, man. Cooper, fuck off, bro. You're absolute garbage. There you go.
I agree. I tell you what, Neil, if you can bring me up the games that are coming, we can do that. I've got a few things to do. I'm gonna. You pointed it out with JJ, and I've got some video evidence of those. I'll show you that in a second. But here are the results. If someone can bring up the next couple of games. Hello, everyone. If you're coming over,
I'll get the results up.
Yeah, fair play to you if you are coming over. I'm actually going to start a poll as well if you think Steve Cooper is an orc or a bog troll. So I'm going to get that up in just a second for you to vote for that. Whilst I get that poll up, yeah, Luke, you can talk to me. Here are the results. I'll bring up the table in a second. So yeah, the key thing is Ipswich have got their first win of the season. This is what the table looks like. This is correct. So you talk to me about that just while I get this poll up.
I'll let Neil talk. I've ranted enough, guys. I'm sick of being negative on here.
Well, my thing is, not only is this going to be a little bit of a LCFC, we're also going to look at some mental health. And Neil, if you could bring that up on screen at the moment, this is something that we've got to kind of go through at the moment. And it's just, again, important from a mental health perspective. If you bring that up on screen, this is something that hopefully when it comes up, this will make more sense. So this is what we call the 5 stages of grief. We're all at different stages. Some of you might be at denial. Some might be at anger, bargaining, depression. I think the reason why I'm so calm, I'm at the acceptance stage at the moment. And that's, again, just to make people, I can see in the comments where people are at. But again, this is I've kind of come to terms with it can't be this bad, but it is that bad. And this is what we've got to get used to. I can't see us getting better. This style of play is nowhere near as good as it used to be. It's consistently poor now. We're still losing by 3 goals a game. We've not got really anything defensively. We're not doing anything attacking-wise. I just don't see what Steve Cooper is really bringing to the team, apart from Christensen. And we all know how that works out.
Yeah. Interesting enough, Orc started leading, but currently Bog Troll is slightly ahead. So you tell me, is Steve Cooper an Orc or a Bog Troll? Get that in on the vote. To kind of prove the point, so yeah, I've got a little bit of quick analysis for you because I can probably do a quick one. I will do the in or out poll, Andreas. I think I know how that's going to go. But here's Luke's points. We can look at a few of the goals. So this is Fernandes, Manchester United's second goal. So Fernandes' second ball. Here we've got Nazrui, who's in Neil's FPL team, so you can blame him for him getting the assist there.
He's on the bench. He's not even in a bloody team.
Yeah. And here you can see the issue. So Luke, you tell me what's the issue here when you're defending.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Mate, what's more painful about this is the build-up that you see leading into this screenshot slide right here, because it's just absolutely like you could see it coming a mile away before you have this screenshot taken, which is the most painful thing. Unfortunately, we can't show clips here; we'll get demonetized and pulled off YouTube. But that is, in a nutshell, like I'd rather you take this, Anil, because I'm going to go off if I keep going through this.
No worries. Well, I can confirm that Steve Cooper is a bog troll, so that's the language you've got to use from now on, Luke. The chat has decided. But yeah, what's happened is that basically, as part of this move, you've ended up with a situation where James Justin's out of position because Buonanotte is playing this sort of is he a 10, is he a winger position. They've both been attracted to the same man. This gives their right back, their left back, all of the room in the world. He can get across away. Fernandes makes the run in between the gap here, and then he heads it in for 1-0. So that's pretty bad. But this is even worse. So this is later on in the game, and this is just before James Justin gets pulled off. He looked absolutely mortified when he got hauled because I think he knows it's not his fault. But if you look at his position here, again, he was caught upfield. He's trying to chase back. Look where he is in relation to Alejandro Garnacho. Fast has to move across. So you've got plenty of people out of position. Goes to him. Fair play. It is a great finish. But the problem is, again, look at James Justin compared to where he is. And this is basically the TLDR of what's going wrong there. But I mean, let's go back to, I'll bring up the stats. I'm going to bring up some comments here as well. I'm going to get the poll out as well. Here we go. We've had discussion before. Orcs are far too aggressive to be a fair Cooper comparison, hence why Bog Trolls win. I vote Cooper out. I also wish Cooper's dad pulled out. A bit harsh there. The issue here is Wilf not tracking Fernandes. Look at the position there. That's fair enough. BK is in the right place and I'm going to get Bruno. I can see that because you can see here's Ndidi here and he's slightly out of position. But I think you can still say there's room to get the crossing. But that's fair. That's fair. Don't blame Cooper. PSR has ruined this club. I'll get a few more comments in a moment. But I'll tell you what, Neil, you talk to me after. What stage are you at? Are you at depression or acceptance?
Acceptance. That's why I'm so kind of happy. Not happy. I'm just content with it. Not that I'm happy with us losing, but let's be honest. I was talking to on my side, a friend of mine, Flawless, who does another Sarcom City TV, and I was saying to him going into this game, obviously I'm not feeling confident at all. A success would be less than a 2-goal difference loss. I didn't think we were going to get anything on the game. Didn't think we were going to score. I thought we might score. It would have been a 3-1 loss, but yeah, it was a game where we didn't really create anything. We didn't really defend it too well. There was times where we were playing some good football around the middle, but there were some shocking passes. My thing is, are they actually playing for the manager? Because they're giving it a go, or are they just implementing his philosophy, but we don't know what the philosophy is. For me, I'm just I don't know what we're trying to do, what we're trying to build, or where we're trying to go. Or they just kind of go, okay, we'll put some players in, but Jordan Ayew had a couple of shots. Did he really improve the team? Samore, again, was a good player for this game. We'll come on to in a bit. But what player really shone and made the most out of this formation? And when they did, it was the individual brilliance of the user rather than the system that's getting the most out of them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I've just started a poll for Steve Cooper, in or out. Can probably guess how that's going to go, but please take your vote there. Here's some interesting comments. Don't want any hates blaming VK for the OG. He's bad, but we need him to be fair. Well, look, I'll show you because this is actually an interesting game where stats are completely misleading. Because if you look to that, you can see that possession is almost even. If you look at the XG, you can see that Manchester United, they kind of scored through some great moments rather than some fantastic team play. But at the same time, let's be honest, we were asking at halftime how many people thought we would score after being 1-0 down or 2-0 down even. It didn't really feel like there was ever a way back into the game. If we look at some of the player ratings here as well, they're very misleading as well. You can see that at the back four, Mad's not getting the best score there. Wings for Tawisi and Ndidi, I think he was right to be hauled off. I actually think Samare was I'll have to ask the chat, actually. I think there was one positive from this game. I can only take one. I have to say, not just making up, no agendas or anything like that, but I did think Samare actually looked really, really good. That was, I think, fair to say. I think he was really good at winning the ball back. Many challenges, played lots of good passes, generally cool and calm under pressure. Other than that, though, pretty poor. I've been Coopering indefinitely, but today he put the wrong players in the wrong positions. We were flat throughout the whole game, sloppy in possession, and build-up tactically was too stubborn. What a great comment, Chris Newbury. I think that's the perfect summary. Anyone want to sort of go on that? This is how we lined up. I'll tell you what, Luke, you tell me. You've looked at this at the lineup. Tell me everything that's wrong with it. And spoilers, there's a lot.
Okay, cool, good. So pull up that comment was good from Christopher. So fair
Yeah.
play to you, mate. This is what I think is the biggest problem. So look, I ask everyone look. You got the starting 11 in front of you. Where did IE really play? I seen him on the left-hand side. I seen him up front. I seen him on the right-hand side. The build-up play is way too convoluted. We've got people chopping and changing positions, and the system isn't well drilled enough because we're constantly changing it for the players to be able to do that and pull it off, and then also deal with the transition and pace of the Premier League. So we're getting caught undone way too much, in my opinion. So this is where it's really painful. What's wrong with this? There's just not enough attacking options in it. And again, the most glaringly obviously one that's staring at all of us in the face is Fatawu on the left. Yes, he was getting the better of his man, getting fouled way too much, and I thought the ref was poor, by the way, but that's not why we lost, just to throw it out there. But Fatawu was just too hesitant when he gets the ball past his man, if he's not been fouled, to put a ball in because he's looking for that decent left-footed option. Again, completely wrong. Now, there's one thing that I want to bring up that I think Locks mentioned yesterday in my preview that I think he was right to point out was Boyanote has not been the best, should I say, team player. He looks like he's trying to be the leading role of an action movie himself. He's just trying to be too much on his own. And I want to know what you guys think of that. But for me, the biggest problem is JJ expected to be a right winger when Boyanote drifts in. JJ expected to be a right back when he has to track back. It's just there's too many people and players well over the place, in my opinion, and it's not organized. Also, one last thing to mention to everyone here as well. Who noticed in the comments Harry Winks arguing with Steve Cooper on the sideline during that game? And he's already came out post-match and talked about how he credited the essentially, he didn't say it, but he said, we're used to, they're drawing people out of position and playing it out through the back and putting people out of position. So, yeah, I've just had enough, man. I've ranted enough about this system or whatever you want to call it.
No, I think that's bang on everything that you said there. Some good comments here as well. Yeah, like Facundo is so selfish that our players are trying to win the ball off him. That does sometimes happen. People have mentioned that Facundo needs to stick to the right. I think you're right about here. Or play the 10, play one or the other. He's definitely caught out of position. What's really interesting is that, like, looking at here, everyone's Cooper out 92%. That's pretty damning. I'd be curious actually who wanted him in. I guess just because international break, but yeah, so much wrong just of this lineup with players out of position. The system, we've already exposed how bad it was. A lack of subs again, no real kind of difference. Like bringing on Canoes quite late when the game was already over. Bringing on McAteer, why at that point in time? We brought Edouard on at 87 minutes, really poor. I mean, here's some fair points though, and I'd like to get your opinions on this though. So from Boho Records and Ranks, our squad is nowhere near as bad as we are playing. I would agree with that. But what do you think? Have we got the blue tinted glasses on, or is it the manager or the squad?
The squad is better than last year's, but the manager, it's up to the manager to get the best out of the players. And who's really improved since last season? This year, the players that haven't been in the team, maybe Jordan Ayew, Victor Christensen, because he wasn't here, James Justin, but he's been exposed day in, day out, game in, game out. I don't know. I don't know who's improved under him. In general, as a squad, they've regressed.
Yeah.
And the players that have improved and have performed well this year weren't here last year. And they weren't here and the reason why they're good is because they've got individual brilliance, not because the system gets the most out of them. And there's a reason why individual brilliance isn't the case anymore. The game is becoming more about the system than it is about the personnel. In the same way that when Man City won the league under Pep, they played without Aguero, they played with a false nine or even no striker at all because the system was that good. Not saying it has to be as good as that, but that's just something to mention where the game is becoming more about the system that you play rather than the individual players.
Yeah, I'd agree. The interesting comment here is lethargic performance all round. Only 2 players for me come out of any credit. That's Fatal and Wings. What did you make of Samare, Alex? Would be curious. I think he was pretty good. Thunder Fox, piss off back to Sherwood Forest. Someone saying get someone stable in like Moyes, play a 4-3-3 and play people in their actual positions. I've actually put a poll up.
I love that he's bringing that up again. If you look at the picture, of that comment, his number on the shirt's a 999. So we're calling for an emergency on Steve Cooper.
It definitely feels like that after that sort of performance, doesn't it? It is interesting. The squad isn't that good. It's better than Ipswich, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, but beyond that, no chance. West Ham have been terrible this season, but most of their players are clearly better. That's fair. Akif, Cooper is an investment of the past. Buzz, Sumari, Winks, and Fatawu were our best. VK is not the answer. He's sloppy in position and looked like he was running in quicksand tracking back. I mean, that Amad Diallo probably should have scored when he made that awful back pass towards the end of the first half, which was, I think, has to be brought up. There are coaches all over the world. Why do we always mention the same 3 or 4 contenders? Well, that's fair. That's why I'd love to see if anyone's got a good shout for somebody else. I think it's just because we've been linked to it before. Get him gone immediately. JJ, by far a worse player. I think that's fair. Can bring up some of your stats, Neil. What do you want to show me here?
So this is the average formation. As you can see how far pinned back we are. Obviously, the shooting is going in this direction for us. And it just looks like, formation-wise, the ball is dipping around the midfield, not going anywhere. Players are not really getting in position. And we're not doing anything with it. As a long story, and I know, Neil, you've got better one than I have, but better analysis than I have. But looking at that, the ball looks like it's been held in the defence, and we're not really doing anything with it.
Well, Lox has pointed out that it's the half-eaten pizza slice. That's the analysis of that look there. But what it is really is you can just see the team on the right there. That's a team that's never going to score because look how deep all of their forward players are. They've only got one player up there who looks like they're going to hit you on the break. Even Manchester United, their players are much further up comparatively. You can also see as well that they've gone for more of a direct passing style because they're making these longer passes where, we've moved up to the midfield and passing it around ourselves, but not really doing anything of it, which is pretty poor. I'll come back to our things. Shall we go through some of the players we usually do, or is it not worth it? I don't know. Here were some of the subs. I mean, let's talk about the sub situation. So, let's not go with some of the players. What do we make of Mads in that game? Anyone want to take it? No one's got. Everyone's
it's not his fault for the goals going in. That's it.
Yeah.
Apart from that, he didn't really do anything, but it's not his fault.
Well, here's the interesting thing. How do we concede so many goals and yet the majority of his goals are not his fault? And the answer is his system, isn't it? That's what it comes down to.
We're going to create another Luke Thomas of JJ if we keep fucking around playing with Steve Cooper. Dead set. He is legit. We're going to ruin his confidence if we keep playing with this system. Again, can you imagine, even if you put Ricardo on as your right back playing that way, we're going to fry him as well. I don't think it matters who you play. Again, you're expecting JJ to be a right winger, okay, and a right back, and then you're also putting our best right wing on the left-hand side. Like, how fucking deluded do you have to be to think that is a good idea? When has that pulled off and when has it worked? Ever? When have we got a payoff from doing that? Hey? Come on, bro.
Yeah, no, great. Interesting here. People saying 2 out of 10 for Victor Christensen. He was crap. He wasn't particularly good. I got to say here, someone's -5 for VK. I've seen enough. Sell him now. I'm not going to have good ones.
I'd say honestly, I'd say he was a 4 out of 10. To be perfectly honest with you,
for Christensen.
Yeah.
And how about Wout Fass?
5.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ant's put it here is that he's just basically said United won't have an easier game this season. It does feel that way, doesn't it?
Mate, I've sent you the link if you want to join as well.
Yeah, but good because Ant is someone that was generally Cooper in, so I'd be curious. Here's someone who, for now, this has turned it to. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting comment. I was going to say that this week we could have it peak Maldini for James Justin, and he would look awful playing in this system. Agree with that. Locks, Cooper's boys, VK, James Justin, and Ndidi all dropping 3s. It's probably fair, to be honest with you. Let me bring this up.
So, yeah, I bought this up for, again, another Marks Out, another great account. Looking at, again, obviously we're passing, obviously the time was together, but you look at the biggest passes on the ball and how we were playing. But, yeah, it's literally this. The reason why I mentioned this is because Winks, again, is something that was surprising. I'm glad he was playing, but clear and far and from a passing perspective, our best player. And behind that, Vestergaard, who, again, looked good, but he needs to play. If he's going to play, I'm surprised he played that well in a back 2. Or maybe I'm thinking of how he played in the back 4 under Brendan Rodgers, where he was just all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we've got a special guest joining us, substitute appearance, faster subs than Steve Cooper. So let's bring on Ant from Ant's Fan Channel. And the reason I'd like to speak to you, Ant, is that you were one of the few that prior to this game was probably still Cooper in. So I'd like to get your opinion as to what your stance is on that and what's changed for you.
The thing is, I said to you, when I was Cooper in, I was very, very much hanging on by a thread of not wanting to get rid of a manager that quickly. But defensively, mate, we are an absolute shambles. And like for a defensive manager, which I've never got this sort of narrative, for a defensive manager to concede the amount of soft goals that we do is just like, what am I holding on to? What's the hope? What's the, like, what am I clinging on to? And like, the more you look at our results that we've picked up this season, the more that you look at them as, yeah, you've rode your luck and there's a bit of individual brilliance here. It's like, that's not sustainable. And United, everyone was going on about, oh, yeah, they're there for the taking, they're this, that, and the other. Now we've lost to them. It's Man United at Old Trafford. It's like, which one is it?
But if it was Man United at Old Trafford, in games gone by, I would have gone, fair enough, hold your hands up, they're a much, much better team. Did they really have to get out of third gear against us today?
They will not have a better, an easier game this season. And I don't know if you guys have talked about this yet, because I literally only just joined. But my mate who was at Old Trafford in the away end was saying that that's the loudest he's heard for anti-Cooper chants, and it was quite a lot of the away end. And when it turned toxic towards the end at Brendan Rodgers, that team was like, there was still a large portion of the fans that didn't want to turn on Brendan Rodgers because of what he'd achieved and the credit in the bank. I don't think Steve Cooper's going to have that. I don't think there's obviously we've talked about it with the board, that the board wanted to give Brendan Rodgers time because of credit in the bank. He doesn't have that. Steve Cooper doesn't have that with the fans, doesn't have that with the board. So it becomes a point now, to me, and I could be completely off the mark with this, it doesn't seem like it's a if he gets sacked, it's when. And it's like, if that's the case, get him gone now, because he's not we're just delaying the inevitable at that point.
Exactly. Get him gone now, get him gone now and utilize this brief 2 weeks we have for this international break now, and get like someone that's actually going to build upon the foundations that Enzo laid, i.e. get a manager that's going to keep playing a possession-based football, play it out for the back, get players comfortable on the ball, and build upon the foundations left behind. You said before, Neil, as well, what are we, a defensive team or are we attacking team? We don't even know. And the argument for Cooper was, again, he has no credit in the bank, was, if we go down with a points deduction hanging over our head, he's got to get out of jail free card. We had FFP. Well, that's gone now. He's good at developing youth. We've seen no youth being developed. If we go down, he's got experience in getting teams out of the championship into the Premier League. Okay, hypothetically, we get relegated, then we come back up. Then we're back in the same predicament that we're in now where, I don't see him developing youth. I don't see him progressing this team forward. He's got no credit at the blank as well, don't forget, with players. We've seen Winks argue him on the sidelines. We've seen players frozen out. We've seen systems change because players want to play a certain way. They don't want to play under him. I don't know what the writing is 100% on the wall. He needs to go, in my opinion. None of us wanted him here in the first place, to be honest with you, or like a lot of us.
Here's a good point from Clipper. Well, firstly, Scott, perfect time now to say of an international break to make change. Absolutely true. Benefits of having Cooper is wrong. Would have been better at set piece defensive, but the cost has really hurt us. And here's a really big thing that no one's even talking about. Imagine if we had a points deduction.
The thing is, I feel like, though, and I'm going to sound really strange here, there'll be less pressure and we probably wouldn't be having this conversation now if we had a points deduction, because we would have already accepted relegation. The fact that we're not getting one has put more pressure on him, because we're actually like, mate, there's no hiding place. There's no excuse now. And sorry to go off on a little bit of a rant. This thing of he kept Forest up so he's good enough is complete bollocks. I'm sorry. Steve Bruce kept teams Newcastle up. Is that the level of manager we're now looking at because they've kept teams up in the past?
Did Jesse Marsh keep Leeds up?
Yeah, well? Jesse Marsh kept Leeds up. Is that really the standard we're going for? And it's like, he's got teams out of the Championship. So is Neil Warnock. Should we go and see what he's doing?
They're both free, and don't give the board any ideas, is what I would say.
So I
Yeah,
don't know. The thing is, you know me, I don't normally go off on rants and stuff, but that today's really annoyed me because it's like there's a way to lose a game of football. That is not it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what's so bad as well, is it was so gutless, especially in that second half, and he just looked clueless as to what to do it. So look, we've got the remaining fixtures up, and I'd ask chat with Cooper in charge, where do we think we're getting our next, forget even win, where do we think we're getting our next points from? I mean, I would say the games that stand out here is these West Ham and Wolves games, especially that we've given them both at home. They feel must win already, don't we? How are you reading these next run of 6 games? I'll start with you, Neil.
Oh, is it on me?
Yeah.
4 points.
And where do you think they come from?
West Ham draw, Wolves win.
I reckon we lose every single one. I think that the morale was all over the players' face after we conceded that second goal. To be fair, I thought the fight back after the first was decent. But after that second goal went in, you just see it on the players' faces. There was no coming back from that. I think that he's lost.
You literally said to me, dejected, didn't you, Luke? As soon as you saw this, yeah. And that's probably how we all felt as well. Some people saying we're not getting points after December. Maybe not like that bad, but could be. Well, here's some interesting ones I brought up. We had a little poll. We said if we were going to replace Cooper, who should come in? And there was no clear winner. You can see Potter and someone else got 29%. The other options were Carlos Corberán and David Moyes. So I think maybe that is an issue. There's no sort of standout person to come in that is like the obvious candidate or the person that we would want. Because, yeah, it's interesting here that we can all see what's coming. We can see what's going to happen. Here's an interesting one, conspiracy theory. How much do we believe Vardy and Ricky really are injured? 2 key leaders, I think, have decided not to play under Cooper.
I think Vardy's got too much respect for Leicester to do anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And same for Ricky, to be honest. I think they might not be his biggest fans, but I think they've got way too much respect for the fans and the club to do anything of that level.
Yeah. I mean, here's interesting, and I would agree with this. What worries me is the fact we honestly did look so out of sorts, bamboozled and flat. No fight like in previous games. Because it is fair to say, in other games, we've definitely had like halves or even longer than that where we've looked out of the game, but then all of a sudden something's changed and we've gone for it. Like the Ipswich game was a good example of that, right? They go down to 10 men and we started attacking and really looking like we could believe in it, even against Spurs and stuff like that. Here we go, Buzz saying they are respecting the fans by not playing to get him sacked. So there you go.
but before against Ipswich, we looked at the game and go, look, it wasn't very good. Steve Cooper didn't make the right decisions, but at least the team showed resilience, and it's something that we asked for the year that we went down. Did we see as much resilience in this? We saw. I don't know if we can quite call it resilience. We just can't. I think they just looked lost.
The thing is, we showed resilience in the Ipswich game, but we still gave away the same amount of chances. It's just Man United finished them and Ipswich didn't. Ipswich could have easily been 3-0 before we even came back into the game. And let's not lie to ourselves. At the point of it was a red card for Calvin Phillips, but if it stayed at 11v11, we were never getting back into that.
Yeah. Would you say the same about the Southampton game, or do you think that's a different story?
No, Southampton are just shit.
As soon as Fatawu came on in that game, that was different, wasn't it? And is fuming, and I love it. That's good. Well, yeah, like I say, 2 things. When you see the sort of people that have normally been backing, it makes sense. How many games of a season have you seen us have a good games in terms of tactics, subs, and a full 90-minute game? We've been lucky to have 10 points. The stats show we should be getting pumped 3-0. Yeah, I agree. Luke's making the 0 symbol. And I think that's right. There hasn't been a single game where you could say start to finish, you were a better team. I think the best we've played this season was probably, in my opinion, was actually against Palace. Because I think even when it was 2-1, we were still quite far the better team. It was only towards the end where he put on Connor Cody and tried to see it out that we looked bad. So that still wasn't a full 90. But that was the game that I thought we started well, got the goals, and we looked okay. If we're being truthful, performance this season have been lacking, and we're lucky to have 10 points. Exactly. And I will say that fans from other clubs have been saying that so far of the teams that came promoted from the Championship, Leicester's getting the luck right now and the other teams haven't. And it's interesting, for example, that Ipswich got their first win. So, they had a good performance against us as well. So it's a problem. The worry is the second half versus Southampton, we were out of it and it was proactive and did something. Same situation today and nothing. Obvious changes could have been made. Yeah, for me, that's actually the worst possible thing. Is that half time 2-0 down, you might as well have gone for something, right? Because we've ended up losing 3-0 anyway. What does it achieve bringing on Edouard in the 87th minute? And you can even see when he's coming on, he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I might touch the ball 3 times here before the end of the game, not really going to get it.
We made 3 subs in that game. So Edouard was one of them. Casey McAteer at 83 minutes didn't make a damn side of difference for James Justin. And Bilal El Khanous came on for Wilfred Ndidi. I like Bilal, but didn't make any difference to the team. And I'm not saying that we've seen subs change the game before, but this was another one where it just didn't happen. And let's be honest, it wasn't. None of the subs made any difference. And they just kept going, right, just come on and try and do the same thing as the other guy was doing, but with fresh legs.
See, here's an interesting one from Tyler. I love it. Someone's gone to stir the pot. I can see what he's getting with, because I've got a feeling Tyler's probably also Cooper out. Although I don't know if you are, so you let me know if you are. But how many promoted teams in 15th after 11 games sack their managers?
That's not the point.
Yeah, I think that's a good response, Neil. I would agree, because you could also argue that Leicester's probably a team that should never have got relegated in the first place. Like, I don't know about you guys, but it's like really. Did you see Brighton play yesterday against Man City?
Yeah.
No.
It's like they've just completely taken our place, like properly going at them. 1 goal behind, they didn't care. They just relentlessly attacked them and came back into the game. It was so impressive. At one point in time, you know. Tyler's given us his statistics. He's 78% Cooper out. So I'd love to know what the other 22 is required to kind of get there.
Get another manager.
Yeah. Yeah, my problem is, when will Cooper learn from his mistakes? Same old problems week after week. Absolutely agree. And in fact, I think he's only gone back to the system because the players forced it. And then now, actually, I bet for him, he loved it that Ricardo was injured, because it meant that there was no one could, doubt him about playing his whack style. But just looking at how, I really found it. I have to say, I'll try and find it after the game. But looking at how dejected James Justin looked said everything to me. Because you would say that, like, if you're first choice in the manager's eyes and you're playing every week in, week out, that normally a player would look delighted in that case, right? When a manager's got your back and you're their boy. But despite that, he was obviously upset because he knows that he's just been. The analysis is going to be like every time on Match of the Day, it's going to be him looking like, oh, another poor performance from James Justin. It's because the setup has, left him, looking poor. Remember Brendan's Fiat to Ferrari comments against Chelsea? Reminds me of that. I tell you what, if someone can get the comments up from Steve Cooper, that would be interesting. I'll be curious as to what he's got to say for himself.
Might be a bit of a while since that happens, because it's normally about an hour and a bit after the final whistle. But I'll keep an eye out.
Thing is, he's so predictable what he's going to say, and he always says the right thing. It's like, I actually don't care what he says, because it's like he always talks really well. It's like, I don't care. Just show it on the pitch. It's like, that is one thing being a very good communicator, and he is clearly that. It's another thing putting it on the pitch, and I guarantee you, it'll be about something to do with the effort, and like they gave the fight, just didn't show the quality in the final third. And we'll go again after the international break against Chelsea.
Shall I show you the pre-match comments? Because they're pretty much what Ant was saying anyway. It's not. There's always an opportunity to get something. We're not going to get into the game with their form in mind. This mentality can be a dangerous one. You must go there with a good mentality and believe what we can do well. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because, again, as Ant said a really good bit, didn't prove it. But yeah, it makes sense what he's saying, but he's not, again, his words are speaking louder than his actions.
The thing is, when a manager takes about a year out of a game like Steve Cooper has, 9 times out of 10, they come back a better manager and have worked on what their flaws were. When I talked to Rads a lot before Cooper was appointed, when we knew he was going to get appointed, but before it was announced, and he was saying about what his flaws were. They're exactly the same thing now as they were when he was at Forest. It's like, what has he done in that last 18 months? It's like, how do you come back exactly the same where you were before? Surely you've got to have improved something.
He's improved his speaking to the press. Maybe that's the problem.
He's always been good at that.
He's speaking to the press, isn't the There's no point. You probably have got this guy that you've been to work with, and they're really good at talking, but they can't do their job. At the end of the day, they're still in the job just because that's the fault of the business. They should have got rid of him just because he couldn't talk the talk. You have to walk the walk at the end of the day.
Got some interesting ones. Cooper's like that annoying cousin that would lie about anything to keep themselves out of trouble. JJ looked furious. Okay, here's a good one. What's the bigger priority, lads? New fullback or a new manager? I think I could answer that one for you, but I'll give it to the panel.
Come on, Luke.
I'll start with Ant as he's our guest today. New fullback or new manager? I love this. Take shots of this. Ant has lost his head. You can literally see the steam coming out of the top of Ant's head. That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I would say new manager because I don't think Ricardo's a bad player. I don't think JJ's a bad player, and I don't think Christensen's a bad player.
Mm-hmm.
They're just. I think Christensen's like an old school fullback, probably not your modern fullback, but he's an old school sort of fullback, can put a ball into the box. James Justin, I'm adamant he is not a bad player. Yeah. Like you don't go from being on the verge of the England squad, challenging Luke Shaw for that. I've just seen that comment, Neil. Challenging to be in the England team, to being one of the worst fullbacks in the league that every team seems to target week in, week out. You don't just become a bad player like that overnight. And then Ricardo, I just think like he's a level above.
But that's the kind of manager he is. The fact that you've got these talented players and you're not playing to their strengths at a bare minimum. And that was something that he promised coming into the game. The fact that he's watched every single game coming into this, he's assessed the squad, he knows our strengths, he knows our weaknesses, and here's how he's going to perform. You look at the difference between the only one that I could compare it to is when Ranieri came in, when Pearson was. And he did change it. We were playing a 3-5-2 and changed to 4-4-2, but he got the best out of those players for that season. And we went on to win the league. Now, I'm saying that we're going to get that? No, we just want to be safe. But you're seeing Ipswich start to pick up a bit of steam now. Wolves have just got their first win against Southampton. Crystal Palace, I genuinely think, inevitably will start to just pick up. I think they've got a good enough manager to sort that out. But the difference is
Wolves who's going to be night as well. It's got to be said.
Yeah, it's a good point. And with that, when the football is being played, are we just going to wait till it's too late, or are we going to work proactively and try and build another style into play? Because at the moment, we're only heading in one way.
Yeah, and here we're looking at the games that are coming up. We've got Chelsea next, got them at home, although that's in a while, 13 days before that one. Then we've got Brentford, we've got West Ham, Brighton and Newcastle. And then, well, look at the end of the year, we've got Liverpool, Man City, and then Villa afterwards. Oof, painful. I've really got to say there is a good opportunity though to bring in a manager right here. I would say. What have you got up here? Or maybe I can't bring that up. You can tell me what that is in a moment. Look, I don't really know what to say about this one, guys. I mean, I think I like this. Someone saying Roger Schmidt, but I mean, what's going to happen? I think everyone's really against the manager, whether he goes or not. I don't know, but I suspect that you're right. I think what we're seeing a car crash here in slow motion. Right. And what the car crash is Leicester falling into the relegation zone. And the longer that we leave it, the more likely that is. And then we make the change anyway, and then it's too late. And that's what it feels like it's going to happen unless some sort of action gets taken. And yeah, we go, look, there's no plausible way we stay up like this. Everyone can see that. The next fixtures are hard. A new manager gets you wins against Wolves and maybe a draw here and there. Cooper gets 10 losses. Yeah, I don't know if 10 losses, but it's hard to see where the points are coming from, especially given that we had good opportunities to get points against Forest and Ipswich and we only got one of them. Interesting shout here. Mark Robbins is free. It's not the worst shout. I mean, he was linked to it before. The lads are not liking it because he's the Coventry manager, but yeah, they're all shaking their heads.
If we were in the Championship, maybe.
He's not Premier League level. He is not Premier League level.
Is our current manager Premier League level?
No, but that's like trading one pile of shit for another pile of shit, to be completely honest. But with Mark Robbins, it's like he is a very good Championship manager. Like, if that's the way we're going to go, I'd genuinely rather keep Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that there's something to be said for Potter. I know everyone says, he doesn't want to come here, but like you can't blame him because we had a PSR hanging over our head. Plus, like he thought he was going to get the England job. He hasn't got the England job. Tuchel's got it now. He's already in the Midlands. I think that now is the time to go for him. I genuinely do. Third time's the charm. Go on, lad.
4th time's the charm. We wanted
Fourth
him
time's the charm.
4th time now.
Would-
And I think with
Would
that
anyone
one,
take Ruud van Nistelrooy?
Yeah,
Yes.
getting back on the bus to Leicester.
Yeah. The man rocks the
please
turtleneck
keep
well.
Cooper there and take Amarim with us.
I just,
Well, look, I actually think we're probably going to leave it there because quite a depressing one. 3-0, never really looked like scoring. Poor performance, manager looking out of his depth, players looking frustrated. Anyone have any closing words they'd like to add to what is a pretty depressing Sunday afternoon?
at least we
and
don't play
subscribe.
next weekend, so they can't ruin next weekend.
Can't ruin next weekend. And like and subscribe after those super positive comments to Blue Tinted Glasses, Beyond the 90, LCFC Down Under, and Ant's Fan Channel. I think we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on Matchday Live with Locks. Great presentation from him as always. Thanks for joining us here in an instant match reaction. A bit of a shorter one, but not really much to say. Hope you have a better week than your weekend was. That's what football can do to you. And we'll see you after the international break for another one of these. But there's plenty more content coming out on the channel. Stay tuned for all of that. I've got a feeling that the call-in show is going to be pretty bad. What? Hang on a minute. Just quickly. Ricardo out for 6 months. Where's that come from? That's season defining, if true.
Sugar. No, hold on. See if I can find that from. Yeah, for 4 months. I've just seen.
Where have you
somebody
seen
put
that?
4 months.
Owen Palmer Atkins.
No way. Yeah, Owen Parker Atkins. Do you want me to bring it up now?
Yeah.
This is now just as we're about to leave.
I
Jamie
hate my
Vaughan.
life.
Oh, if anybody doesn't know, Owen is the main representative of Leicester, BBC Radio Leicester. So pretty much one of the most reliable voices out there when it comes to Leicester news.
Well, I said that the weekend couldn't get any more depressing, but I'm literally looking at the eyes of the panel right here, and that feels actually awful. Because unfortunately, that means we've got to, I tell you what, if that's the case, we've got to change the system. We've got to just change the system. You can't play JJ got up, be boring, just keep Justin and Christensen back as fullbacks. It's almost as if what happens when you don't play for 3 months and then get chucked in at the deep end. Exactly. Any more comments that he's got from Owen?
Well, I can bring it down and have a look in the meantime.
No,
I don't think so, but that's a lot. That's the latest one that they've had at the moment. But again, if we keep playing like this, I think we're looking at the 15th place is the highest we're going to get, and we're just going to slowly fall down more and more down the table, in my opinion.
Yeah. Someone's put here, how did today just get worse? But unfortunately has. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time. This is Blue Tinted Glasses signing off. See you later.